Hey guys, and welcome to another camera rescue video. I am Linus and today I will be showing you how to change light seals. As a little disclaimer, this is just our approach of doing it. There might be different approaches and everyone has his little twists and turns, but this works fine for us and we have changed many light seals in this way. So let me show you what you need for that process. First of all, a camera of your choice that needs light seal changing. So next up, you will need a few chemicals to clean up the old glue and the old light seal. There's different stuff you can use. What I will use today is isopropyl alcohol. This might be bad for plastic cameras, so be careful with that, but it's perfectly fine for a metal camera that we will be cleaning today. And this will be good for just cleaning the old glue and old residue of the glue. The next thing we use is methyl ethyl ketone. This is really effective to get the old light seals out of the camera, but be careful, this is really bad for your health. Don't breathe it in, don't get it on your skin, and it would be probably best to Google all safety instructions before you use any chemical for the cleanup process. But these are the two chemicals we will use today. And of course, for changing light seals, you will need the right material. For the back door light seals, make sure to use open cell foam. Make sure it is not pre-glued because pre-glued material will be really hard to get in. And for the back door, it is about 1 to 1.5 millimeter. For the back door hinge and the mirror bumper, if needed, we use pre-glued around 2 millimeter thick foam. And this is pre-glued because it is not hard to get on because it's just on the surface. I will show you more about that later on when I actually apply it. So to glue in the non-pre-glued material, we use this yellow quick contact glue. Be careful to not take 1 second glue because this will not be possible to be cleaned up afterwards. And you want to use a glue that you can actually get out if you made a mistake or if you want to change the light seals again. So use this classic standard yellow quick glue that is used for different kinds of materials. For cutting the non-pre-glued material into the right size, you will need a cutting board, a ruler, and a rotary cutter. For the cleanup process, what also works best is wooden sticks and popsicle sticks cut in the middle to actually get out the old light seals. To clean everything up, we use Kimtech wipes and standard Q-tips. For the chemicals, you will need a syringe to actually apply it. Also, scissors will help to cut the back hinge light seal in the right size. And to clean the camera afterwards, you can just get a little cleanup, microfiber cloth, and some cleaner. Of course, for exact positioning, tweezers might be needed as well. To tape off the shutter for damage protection, you will also need some tape. So let's begin. Turn around the camera, open the back door, and first tape off the shutter. Be careful with that so you don't actually stick it to the shutter but just to the surroundings. So the shutter is safe now and we can begin with the cleanup process. So first of all, you should actually check out where there are even the light seals, how they are positioned, which ones you have to get rid of. And remember the positions where there are light seals, where there are old light seals. So you can actually find the position when you put in the new ones. And mostly it is pretty straightforward. It's here in the back door. For different cameras, it's just differently shaped. And there's most of the time one light seal right here on the back door hinge. So we will start with the ketone and in a syringe. Once again, be very careful. This can really seriously damage your health. So just take a little bit into the syringe. Be careful with that, don't breathe it in. So just a little bit should be enough. There's more air in there than liquid. So we will apply this now to the old light seals. Really slowly and carefully, just a little bit on there. All the way to the end. So this should be enough. So that is enough. Close off the syringe because it evaporates really quickly. So we wait for a few seconds for its effect. Then we will get one of the wooden sticks. I will use a popsicle stick now and a Kimtech wipe to actually wipe everything off. And really be careful with the chemical, don't get it on your fingers. And now we get into the old light seals and scrape them out of there. So there will be black goo coming out there. Just like that. Wipe it on the Kimtech wipe. And continue until there's almost nothing in there anymore. You might also try one of these pointy sticks. They sometimes also really do a good job. So do it for all the light seals. For a lot of cameras there is a little lever in here that shows the camera that the back door is closed. Be careful with that. Don't get any chemicals in there or too much goo. Just be careful to leave that part out. So when the most of the gunk is out, you can take one of those wipes, rip a little bit off, put it around your stick, and then actually get in there. This is a really effective way to get even the tiniest rest out of there. In between, just look in there, check if there's anything left. For me, there is still some left. So I will continue until it is really, really clean. And the cleaner it is, the better the new glue will actually stick. Don't forget the hinge. This might be sometimes really sticky and a bit tricky. So also take your time here. For the hinge part, it also helps sometimes to get a Q-tip. Put some alcohol on it. Sometimes what also helps is to actually remove the whole back door, so you can also get under it. There might also be some goo on the back door itself, so also clean that up. So when everything is really, really clean, we go to the next step, applying the new material. So you take your camera and take a closer look on how wide the new light seal piece has to actually be. The length should almost always be fine if you have a sheet like this. And then you estimate the width. You can also measure it if you want. It can be a little bit wider so it actually fits more snug, but it should not be thinner. So we take the cutting equipment and the new light seal material. We get the correct width. And then we cut it. apply pressure on the ruler so it will be consistent. And then just like that we have our first strip. We will need 2 of these. And the second one. So now we will start with the gluing. So make sure to get with the syringe right into the area where you want to glue the light seals. Apply little pressure on the syringe and only get really like a little amount of glue on there. Don't fill it with glue, just a little amount. And you don't have to be in a hurry, it can dry for a little bit. It might even sometimes be better to let it dry for a tiny little bit. It still holds very well. So let's get it going. Make sure it is a consistent amount of glue. Make sure to get around the corners well. And try to not get any glue residue on the edges. If there is some residue, you can clean it up afterwards. So now you can also start with the second side, because it can dry a little bit like I already said. So when you're done with applying the glue, you take your first piece of light seal. Start on whichever side feels comfortable for you. And then of course there's the thickness side and the wide side. The wide side should always be facing up. And then you put it here. Press it in with a little popsicle and make sure the wide side always faces up. Don't get it twisted. Take your time with it. If it twists, you can pull it out a little bit and do it again. Just step by step, slight pressure. Just make sure you get it in consistently without any twists. You don't have to press it hard yet. And now, if there are little corners like here, don't stretch it out. Get it carefully around the corners. And then when you come to the end, you just cut it off at the right length. Make sure it is edge to edge. You get the rest in, and now, especially well with the round side, you can apply a little bit more pressure to make sure everything is nicely on the glue. So the first side is done. Now the second side, be sure to always remember the little lever. You have to cut in between. So same approach, you will start here. Press it in step by step. And then here at the lever, you do a little cut. Don't get any light seal material under the lever. And then you continue on the other side. So this is basically done. You can let that dry for a little bit while we actually put on the back door hinge light seal. So for the back door light seal, for the hinge, you will need the self-gluing light seal material. You could either measure or estimate the size of it, make sure it is edge to edge. So I will kind of estimate and then adjust accordingly. So you can cut off a strip as consistent as you can. So you see, you estimate the width of it. After a while you kind of get a feeling for it. So this would still be a little bit too much. So let's see. Yes. Size-wise, this looks pretty much perfect. Now we just have to carefully get it on there. You can use tweezers for that. That might help. Just try to not touch the sticky side. And then you apply it edge to edge. Press it on there. Nice and clean. So this looks very good. Now you can actually take the back door, put it in again, and then make the closing test. You close it. If it closes nicely, everything should be fine. If you open it and it jumps open, everything should be fine as well. If it doesn't, look all around. If there's any residue glue, you can most of the time just get it off with tweezers. This one looks really good. It closes fine and it pops open. So this one worked out fine. So now we can turn it around and get to the mirror bumper. For most cameras there's a strip of mirror bumper here. For the OM1 it's a little bit different. The little mirror bumpers are here and here, just small patches. There is even a little bit more going on in the back. For the sake of this video I will not change this one, they are still in really good condition, but I will change the front mirror bumpers. Just tiny little patches, but be careful here. Make sure to not get any goo or any glue on the focusing screen. So when you remove the old ones, always hold it like this so the goo falls down and not onto the focusing screen. You can also help clean it off with a little rocket blower, but let's get to it. It's basically the same process as before. Get the old goo off, make it as clean as possible to get the new self-gluing light seals on. So when it's nice and clean, get the self-gluing material and then cut little tiny patches. Like I said before, usually it would be a little strip. For this one it's 2 tiny patches. Cut them out. I will estimate the size again and will adjust accordingly. You can always take the tweezers and hold the patch in position, see if it's the right size. For me this was perfectly fine. and then actually start applying them right here. You just see where the old light seals were and put it on the right exact position. And really position it exactly. This is really important. So number 1 is in. I hope you can see that right here. So on to number 2. So here you can see, here is number 2. Right into position. You can take a little test shot to see if it also bumps correctly. That is very nice. You can carefully lift up the mirror. Not sure if you can do that for every camera, so be careful with that. So that looks perfect. So you are basically done here. What we usually do is now the cleanup process, like actually clean the camera all around. We just use a microfiber cloth and some cleaner and maybe some Q-tips if needed. And then you just clean the camera all around and you're done. Oh, and before I forget, of course, take off the little tape on the shutter. So we are done. I hope you could follow the steps. Once again, this is just our way of doing it. A few more things to say. For most SLR film cameras, this should work fine. There are some exceptions you might find, especially with medium format cameras, but for most SLR film cameras, especially the metal ones, this works perfectly fine. For plastic point and shoots, be careful with the chemicals. It should be mostly mechanical cleaning because you could damage the material. So I hope that video was helpful for you. If you have any questions, put it in the comments below and see you next time. Goodbye.